Welcome, everyone. It's Thursday. Are we there yet? Oh, are we there yet? No, almost though. Um, I'm looking out the window and it is like 50 shades of gray up in here. Like, seriously, if you see the sky, it's gray. And I'm like, come on, man, don't do me this way. Don't leave me this way. Right? No, give me some sun. Well, we'll try. We'll wait. It'll rise today at about what? 8 something. So I got another 2 hours of darkness and cold. But that being neither here nor there, manifestation is observed. You see, a lot of people, especially in the Reddit streets, I don't know if I believe in manifestation. I know Neville says some really good stuff, but I don't know if I believe in manifestation. I will tell you this again, and I will tell it to you every day until you start to observe your own self. Manifestation is not something one believes in. Manifestation is simply observed. I tell you, you plant corn, you get corn. Oh, but that's just nature. And what do you think governs nature? The principles of creation: mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, causation, and gender. Those seven principles govern everything that you see. Well, where does it govern it, Angela? Well, let's put it in terms of what we're doing technologically. Yeah? Remember last time we had one called Chat GPT? Where do you think the impetus for Chat GPT originated from? You think that somebody just said, oh my God, let me do this AI thing where I can say something and it'll tell me something back. Do you think that is a coincidence? No, that too is governed by principle. As within, so without. But you see, we think that Chat GPT is doing something awesome, miraculous. No, it's not. It's just telling you what you already know. The reason that it's faster is because, as I told you, it can crawl the web and gather all of the information pertaining to the question that you have asked. The information is already there. It's just gathering it for you, depending on how you ask the question. So you manifested your response. That's as simple as that, right? You get in the car, you turn the ignition, and it fires. Listen to the word ignition. You're dealing with cause and effect. A spark from the spark plug ignites the what fuel? It's a combustion engine. And so cause and effect, which does what? Create motion. That's why the car moves. It doesn't just move because, oh my God. But what about an electric car? Same thing. The battery has to be fully charged. And you'll go further with a full, literally speaking, a full battery. But it has to be charged. You've got to put something in to get something out. And whatever energy you put in is the energy you will get out. Same for your batteries anywhere. Your electric toothbrush, you name it. All things that you and I do in this world are governed by those seven principles. And you don't need to believe in them. You need to observe them. And when you observe them, you will begin to comprehend how to apply them to your own life. Now, if you've ever read Huang Di, the Yellow Emperor, in traditional Chinese medicine, he talks about the naturalist, the person who lives by way of nature. He allows nature to show him what to do. And then you have the sage, the one who understands nature and applies it to themselves. Not just they're a step above. And it progresses and it progresses. Right? All of that is principle. When you garden, it is principle. It is not nature. We see it manifested as nature. It shows up in the form of nature. But what is running behind it? The principles. So when you look outside and you see this blanket of snow, let me tell you, it is pristine in the backyard because I haven't even been out to the backyard. Oh, heavens no. And the snow is just untouched. So I haven't been out there. There's no evidence of me being out there, but you might see a bunny. I don't know. So what I'm saying to you today, did we make winter happen? Well, if you believe in harp, because you know they got skills too. But even when they do it, it's based on the principles. They have to make the atmosphere do something in order for the thing they want to happen to occur. Hmm? So they have to project something into it. I tell you, everything follows principle. Not a thing is outside of principle. Nothing is outside of principle. Whether you are in this dimension, universe, whatever you want to call it, if you Pleiadian, if you Arcturian, if you reptilian, draconian, principle still applies. Principle will always apply. But what we don't get is how we apply it. You are the operant power. If I plant, I will reap what I've planted. I cannot get around it. So if I planted a bad attitude, I'ma meet people who poke my bad attitude and we gonna fight. Trust me, I know all about that. But you know what we do? That we do not see the correlation between and why we think manifestation isn't quote unquote real. We do not want to take responsibility for what we've done to our lives. Oh, I'm coming for us this morning. Mm-hmm. I know what I'm talking about. We don't want to take responsibility because it's not my fault. You see, this is the problem when we fault and we blame. You do not fault and you do not blame. You observe. Oh my God, this is your fault. Really? The moment we cast fault and blame, we blind the eye and deafen the ear. Because then you can't see the principles and how to change because you're too busy blaming. You're too busy blaming. The simple question is, oh my goodness, what did I do to bring this about? Where was my mind? And the funny thing is this, your mind may have been there last week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, but you're now seeing the repercussions of it if you would pay attention. God is not mocked, eh? God is not mocked. What a man sows, he reaps. So if in your mind's eye, you're constantly complaining, constantly fretting, what do you possibly think your life will be like? And then it shows up to give you more opportunities to complain and to fret. You say, oh my God, life is so hard. Why is this happening to me? That is what we say. I am telling you, all you get to do is observe. When you observe what you are doing and the corresponding effects in your world, you will see how you brought it about and you will stop judging yourself. I am telling you, you'll stop judging yourself. Now, I'm sitting here and I'm watching it because I know what I did 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. I know what I said. I know what kind of argument I had in my head. And now I know what kind of argument I'm having here right now. So then I say to myself, Angela, really? You want to go to work and just be abused all the time? Really? But the treatment, it honestly, it looks like it's just happening and whatever. But I played a major part in that. Today's Thursday. My butt's not clenched today because Taipei is not at work today. So I'm relaxed. So then I sit here and I wonder why Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday I'm in turmoil. Because I have said, she just get on my nerves. Instead of doing what? Instead of getting in my mind's eye and deliberately and persistently, regardless of what I see outside, what I hear outside, regardless of all of that, if I would turn inward more to imagine the outcome that I want, as opposed to turning inward to complain about what I don't want, do you think I'd be in the predicament? No, I wouldn't be. But it is easier for me to sit here and say, oh my God, she's so cantankerous. Because that's easier. So, whatever situation you're in right now, do not blame yourself because that will get you nowhere fast. It'll keep you spinning and spinning and you'll be moving all right, but not in the direction you want to go in. So I am saying to you, whatever the situation is today, whatever it is, whatever the situation is, you can clearly see it. So then there's a question. What do I want to become? Because this ain't it. As they say in Barbados, if you are financially embarrassed, you don't want to be financially embarrassed. No, you don't. So what do you want? You want to be secure. You want to have financial stability. But what does that look like? And we wonder what it is that we're doing. And we say, fine, I'll get another job. So now you're even more exhausted. You got 2, 3, 4 balls in the air. You juggling job after job after job. That is not what you want. So what do you want? What do you want to become? If we would take the time and be, remember, you don't have to force discipline. No, you don't. You become disciplined. How? By doing the same thing the same way every time. So if you get into your mind's eye and you have this thing that you say you want to become, well, Lord, I really want to do this, Lord. You got to help me, Lord. Bring all the right people. That is not showing the Lord how to help you. You need the vision. You need the image in your mind. Where do you think Jesus is? Within. So God needs to see what you are seeing. But help me, Lord. I need a break in life. What kind of break do you need? Have a picture. Jesus is an artist. He needs an image to look upon. He needs a seed to cultivate. So asking God to help you, you have to show God what it is that you want. Okay, Lord, here's what we're looking at. I don't like where I'm at right now. So here's the kind of life I want to live. Let me paint this picture for you. And you get into your mind's eye, in your imagination, and you begin to, the man in the lecture last night, he said, I just toyed with the idea of being married. Do you know what it means to toy with something? To get in your mind's eye and just see however many scenarios you can come up with that would imply you were the man or the woman you wanted to be. When you do that, that is how you're praying. But we have been conditioned to beg as prayer. Let that just sit there for a minute. We've been conditioned to beg and call it prayer. Whatever you are begging, it's not what you're begging for. It is that you are begging. There's an energy that is begging. And the energy of begging cannot bring prosperity because it is not the seed. of prosperity. It is the seed of begging. So you will always be begging. I'm not talking to any of you this morning. I'm talking to me. You know what it is to hear, oh, you're just like your mama. Oh, hello? Ain't nothing gonna cut me faster than to hear that. Because they're not telling me the good attributes of my mother, you know. And she does have phenomenal attributes. She really does. But when they tell me you're like your mother, they're not talking about the good ones. Mm-mm. No, they not. Now, how did that get into my mind? This is what I'm trying to tell you. We have heard things, we have seen things in our lives that have left an impression on us. How did it leave an impression? It hurt you, and you felt the pain of it, aka we call it trauma. You felt the pain of it. It is literally a groove on your brain. You're always going to remember it. And every time you remember it, you relive it and you feel it all over again. And thereby, what happens? You become that thing that has left an impression upon you. And that thing is running in the background, ruling your life. And you out here thinking, ain't nobody love me. No, that's not it. It's the neurological pathway that has been set down in your brain that is running you. And the way to, because you can't break it because you don't have Alzheimer's. You can't break it. You've got to set a new one down. So how do you set the new one down? By asking, what do I want to become? Take your time with that step. That's the most important step there is. Defining what you want to become. And when you answer the question of, I want to become ... Remember, don't just use a word, use the attributes. Use the attributes that represent the word. Because if I tell you, oh, look, new shoes. What good are shoes if you don't put them on? Hmm? So what good are words if you don't know how to apply them? So you apply the attribute. We tend to say, oh my God, you're so lazy. Such a procrastinator. Those are words. What is that person doing? They start and they never finish. That's one. And we judge them for that. We say they're lazy. What you are not seeing is the neurological pathway. As within, so without. There's something that's got them stuck there. So today, the way to free yourself is to answer the question, what do I want to become? And take your time as you answer it. Remember, every time you go back to the past, you do it again because you're continually following the pathway. So this is why we don't see why manifestation is real. Because we cannot see the corresponding thought or mental mood that brought it about. We can't see that. So what I'm showing you today is it's there. And every time you ask the question, God, why does this always happen to me? Why am I still in the same place? Oh, I've known you and you haven't changed. Ooh, that's another phrase that'll cut you to the quick. You haven't changed. And do you know why we haven't changed? Because we haven't changed the neurological pathway. We have not persistently. Yes, I have. I have, Angela. Every day I get up and I practice. You don't tell me what I've done and what I haven't done. I always get that argument. Always. Yes, I have. I'm like, if you did, you'd not be doing the same thing that you've always done. The neurological pathway does not lie. So where have you and I been deceiving ourselves? We've not been turning within to persist in the new way that we want to behave. That's why. And again, there's no fault, there's no blame, there's no judgment. It is called habit. Habits are formed in one way. You do the same thing the same way every time. So what are you continually practicing day in and day out? What image are you seeing? What voices are you hearing in the back of your head? Are you listening to the same thing that tells you, you're gonna be just like blah, blah, blah. Look at you, 50 and you haven't accomplished nothing in your life. What are you listening to? So if that's what you're hearing today, what would you rather hear? Every time I feel the Spirit moving in my heart, I will pray. That makes more sense to me now because I used to sing that as a little girl. So every time you get the feeling to complain about how not so good your experience is, remember that neurological pathway is strong within you. And that's where you'll go naturally. You don't want there. So what do you want? Begin to see and hear that. What would I be doing if I became the man or the woman I wanted to be? What would I be doing? Then begin to do that in your mind's eye. Every time you feel the inclination to do the old, remember, no, not old, new. That's why you got to get a new scene in your mind's eye, a new script in your mind's ear, a new attitude in your heart. Every time you do the new. But remember last night, it's called yours for the taking. That thing that you turn towards that is new, it has to be more enticing than the old. This is why we're not creating change. I'm telling you what I know from experience. I love a good argument. Come on, man. And when I have the argument, oh, I put my all into that argument I'm having in my head. And I wonder why the situation hasn't changed. Because I keep arguing. Because it feels good. So the new attitude has to feel better than what you are wanting to leave behind. And you do it one moment at a time. You do it one moment at a time. Because you're going to feel like if you drive stick shift, the moment you put the clutch in, you lose friction. Because nothing is engaged. So that's exactly the same thing that happens. When you start to recall a memory, you lose friction until you choose the memory. But it's a very, very small space. It's a really small window that if you're not paying attention, you won't feel it. So when you start to watch yourself, when you're going through whatever you're going through, when you start to watch yourself, you say, whoa, 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 wait a minute. I can sit here and I can tell you. Because of that argument I have in my head with her on a daily basis, it doesn't matter how nicely I say what I say. I simply said yesterday, if you don't want me to get rid of something in the emails, put a flag on it. It's what I do, so you don't throw away what I'm working on. I put a flag on it. Oh, every time I say something, you're so contrary. And I'm sitting there like, wait, what? swear at you. I'm telling you how this thing works. Put a flag on it if you want to keep it, or I will file it. But do you know why the argument blew up the way it did? Because of me. So what are you doing in your life that you don't think you're doing, but you're getting the same response over and over again? You're not trying anything new. You see, that phrase, you keep trying something new and getting the same response. Allegedly, that's insanity. No, it is not, because you haven't tried anything new. You're doing the same thing. You're doing the same thing. You will get the same result. So, where should the bulk of your energy go? Doing the new. And the new thing that you want to do has to feel so much better than the old. Because when the old arises, you'll go, tempting. But you know what? This over here, oh, hello, feels so much better to me. So I'm going to stay over here. Because you will remember that what you recall, you redo. But what you imagine, you create. What you imagine, you create. What you imagine, you create. Oh, Angela, that's so far-fetched. That's not true. Really? Find me a painter. Find me an artist. Find me an architect. Find me a chef. Hmm? Hmm? Find me a mechanic. Oh, you think they don't have an imagination? They have to have an imagination. Because when you walk in the door and you say, my car is making this kind of noise. I don't know what that is. But when you say he knows exactly what it is. He'll laugh at you first, but he'll know what you're talking about if he's worth his salt, because he's got the experience. He's had the time to develop his skills. All of that is law. You told him the effect you are having, and he found the cause, because every effect has its cause. And he tells you, if you keep doing this, you're going to make this happen. So stop doing that. Well, how do you know I'm doing it? Because I can see what you're doing just by looking at your engine. So when you go out into this world, remember that the principles are always at work. You get to exploit them. And when I say exploit, you see how we feel with that word? Because when we hear exploit, we go, oh my God, that's so bad. Shouldn't I be just loving to everybody? That's not what I mean by exploit. I mean, use it, and use it well. You just have to feel more about your new thing than you feel about the old. It is a scale. You get a pound over here, but if you get a pound and 2 ounces over there, that's where the scale will tip. So your new attitude has to be the pound and the 2 ounces. Even a little bit of movement in the direction that you want to go in will give you more results. So don't fret. Am I doing it right? You will know when you are doing it right, because you will know where your mind is. You will know what kind of inner thoughts you are engaging in. You see, when people come to see me and I say, well, can I see your tongue? And they're like, my tongue? I'm like, yeah. What are you looking at? I said, I'll know when I see it. And based upon what the tongue looks like, I begin to ask questions. And they're like, oh my God, how did you know? How did you know? I'm like, because as within, so without. As within, so without. Yeah, but I never told anybody. I'm like, you don't have to tell anybody anything. It is always going to be there because it has to show itself. You just have to know what you're looking for. I don't know if you heard what Neville said last night in the lecture. He says when people drink, because they're spirits, right? You know, they drink your wine, your rum, brown liquor. They're seeking. We think they're trying to drown their sorrows. No, they're not. They're seeking. And we judge them. Oh my God, why would you do that? So Neville says the one who doesn't hasn't even started seeking yet. But at least the one who's downing the drink, they're seeking something and they're going to find it. And they will realize it's not at the bottom of the bottle. Might be a little dust on the bottle. Don't let it fool you about what's inside. I like my country music too. Don't come for me. Beyonce in the first. I'm older than she is. I grew up on Freddie Fender. I know my country, but I digress. You, if you would catch yourself, you know when it shows up the most? Here are your cues. It shows up the most when you're driving, when you're bathing, when you're quiet, when you're walking a dog, when you're cooking. That's when what you are doing all the time, same way, every time, that's when it shows up and comes to the surface because you are still. So when you are still, this is why stillness is required. What do you mean by stillness, Angela? We equate stillness to being quiet or meditative, but stillness just means there's just one thing mentally going on. Not a gajillion, just one thing mentally. The mind is not turned up, it's just on one thing, stillness. And when you can see what it is on, you can see what you're doing and you can see why you're stuck. And when you see why you're stuck, that's your moment to celebrate. Why? Because the thing that has you stuck will also show you how to free yourself from it. It is when you don't see where you're stuck. So pay attention and don't beat yourself up. Oh, for the love of God, stop beating yourself up. I'm failing. You are failing. You know, Red Skull from Avengers. You're not failing. You're not. So just take your time because the moment you start to feel like you're failing, oh, what's the seed you planted? Failure. So you see why you don't judge? Yeah. Because when you judge, you planted a seed and you're going to have to reap that. So take your time. What do I want to become? What do I want to become? Do not shake your magic 8 ball because the magic 8 ball will only respond in the way that you tell it to respond. Oh, you thought it had a mind of its own? No, it follows you. Don't pull the tarot because the tarot is going to show you what's within you. Why do I say that to you? Because it doesn't matter what you can do the runes, you can throw the cowrie shells, you can dance naked in the moonlight. You're only going to encounter what is already inside. So to save yourself the trouble, just go straight inside. Because you don't want to see what's already there. You know what's already there. You know what the problem is. You want to go inside to toy with the solution. The only way you're going to know is to do it. So all these pain you got in your body, and you got to renew your prescription all the time because you got the pain. Your mind is in pain because your thoughts are painful. Oh, please, Angela, that's not true. As within, so without. And because we consistently argue that your painful thoughts do not give pain in your body, we will always be prisoner to it. I ain't tell you go out here and just throw away your pills. What I'm saying to you is examine your thoughts. Examine the thoughts. Change them. And the stuff on the outside will change to match. Because it has to. Because that is principle. So this morning, I don't know if you're going to get Birdsong because he was hollering in here early. But I was appreciative of his hollering because I'm a little tired. So I was appreciative of his hollering to get me out of bed. He says, Mama, I know. Come on, get up, Mama. Come on. Get up, Mama. And I said, okay, baby, I'm up. So this morning, pay attention. And when you catch yourself thinking the same thoughts over and over, ask yourself, what do I want to become? And then you begin to experience or rehearse in imagination what you would be doing in reality if you became the man or the woman you wanted to be. And as you are toying with those scenarios and rehearsing in your mind's eye, step 3 naturally occurs. You begin to feel something shift within you. And when you feel that shift within you, you get so excited. You want to run out and tell everybody. That's okay. Celebrate for you first. They'll see your celebration. If they know what they're looking for, they'll see that pep in your step. And they'll say, hey, girl, what you doing? And you'll get a chance to tell them all about it. But remain faithful to that new you that feels incredibly beautiful. Because that is what you want, isn't it? The new you, new hat, new dress. I got a new attitude. Let the new attitude that you walk with on the inside be stronger than your old way of being. And in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail, you will see your life change. So before you call me and cuss me out, because you think I'm full of it, well, according to Popeyes, I digress. Before you think I'm full of it, why don't you try to prove it for yourself? Anyway, don't let me keep hollering at you. Who's here this morning and we'll get the chime. Hello, Cyber. Ray of sunshine. Hey, girl. I see you in these YouTube streets. It's good to see you. Because you know we're on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok over here. Silent J, and it's symmetric. Hey, girls. I see you on Twitter. Fan base. Ooh, we are kicking it today. We got the lovely Miss McQueen. My Scotch bonnet. We have my sweet KZ. Amen. We got you in here today. Hello, Michael. Flo smiles. Ray Ray. Oh, hello, Malik. And I am Shakila. Hello, beautiful darling. I see you all. So today, allow the new attitude to dry your tears. Yes, allow the new attitude to dry your tears. Oh, yes. Leave the past, or as scripture would say, let the dead bury the dead. Leave the past where it is and begin to use your mental faculties to imagine so you can get it the way you want it to be. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you see, every time you have that argument or that thing in your mind's eye, you cuss somebody out. If I say daddy, if I say stepmother, oh, something comes to mind, doesn't it? Sure does. If I say sister, if I say brother, something comes to mind, doesn't it? See, you're imagining. All I had to do is say the right word. So today, say the right words. That will do what? Trigger you to begin to experience in imagination what you would be doing in reality if you became the man or the woman you wanted to be. That's what you do. Let me get this chime. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Twitter, I'm gonna see you tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't know what lecture we're reading tonight, but I'm sure it'll be lit and we'll fall asleep together if that's what you want to do. 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Twitter, Fanbase, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. Yeah? So I'll see you tonight, my lovelies, on Twitter. I'll see you. Thank you for being here today. I love you. Twitter is closed. YouTube, I'm gonna see you tonight. Oh, yes. 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I love you. I love you. Anyways, go forth today and check yourself. Eric, check yourself. Hey, you know how